We don't know.
Does that make me stand up?
What? Like that? You're breaking a tradition, I know, but
Yeah.
I hear a bell at home, I stand up and there's somebody there. My oven goes off and I stand up. We doing this? I had a guest this morning, and you all seen and read and heard about her. Amanda Nelson is back with us today as a guest only for the next 25 minutes. All right.
Oh, Lisa.
No, go.
So, 6 years ago, we had an exchange student. Sometimes they come back.
Yes,
And when they come back, it's just as special because it's like your daughters.
All right.
It's been a great week. Maggie brought Audrey with her, which is her certificate. Maggie's from Belgium, and she stayed with us for several months back in the day. And she's so. Do you want to say anything? Say hello to all Maggie or anything?
Hello. It's been great to be back at Casa Peninsula. And I hosted being standalone 6 years ago, and it was an amazing experience. And it's great to be back and see where they live now. So, thank you.
Welcome.
Like you said, the exchange students sometimes come back even when we send them away. So Travis Naiman is back. We're going to hear from him today about his year in Brazil.
Cool. All right.
I have Lark Doolan here. He's our guest speaker for the day.
No.
I have Corey Busher here. She's from Paradise Rotary, and she was also one of the chartering members or rechartering members of North Bay Rotary.
Yay!
Paradise, is that Paradise, California? Paradise where the fires were and everything?
Yes, her house was burned down.
Oh my God.
But a week after you moved in. All right, you ready? Before I get started, anybody who follows me on Facebook knows that I just got back from a magical trip to Ireland with my youngest daughter. And so I brought back some Guinness mustard for our president. And then it just works out so perfectly. Our guest speaker is here, and I brought back, Lark's last name is Doolan, so I brought back mustard from Doolan, Ireland. All right, fellow Rotarians, it is my privilege and pleasure today to conduct an induction ceremony to bring new members into our club. Amanda Nelson was proposed for membership by Scott Heller. Amanda's proposal has been reviewed by the membership committee in accordance with our club constitution and bylaws. Her name has been circulated and her application for membership has been approved. So I now ask Amanda and Scott to come up. Rotary is defined as a volunteer organization of business and professional leaders united worldwide to provide humanitarian service and build goodwill and peace. Club members meet weekly to plan service projects, discuss community and international issues, and enjoy fellowship. Clubs are non-religious, non-political, and open to every race, culture, and creed. Rotary encourages high ethical standards in all vocations while striving to live and work by the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Amanda. We now proceed to admit you into membership in the Rotary Club of Arcata Sunrise and to the friendship of Rotary throughout the world. It's already been explained to you that the ideal of Rotary is service. Our motto is service above self, and the object of this club and all Rotary clubs is to encourage and foster this ideal as a basis of worthy enterprise. You are to share in this effort. You've been approved for membership in the club because we believe you to be a worthy representative of your vocation, are interested in the ideals of Rotary, and are willing to do your share in translating these ideals into action. You've agreed to accept the obligations of membership in this club and to obey the club's constitution and bylaws. Now I have the pleasure of asking your sponsor to pin on your membership pin. Is it not in there? The emblem of the Rotary wheel, which we hope you will wear with pride being a Rotarian, but also with humility of service. No red badge. Hey, Nick. Thanks, Jessica. So this time I would present you with a red badge. Yeah, that'll hang from it, right? Okay, we'll get this figured out. At a time in the future, as a new member, there's a path you will follow as you achieve to get your blue badge status. And I know you'll achieve this in a timely manner. The new member packet contains information for you about our Rotary Club and about Rotary International. You'll have many questions in the coming weeks, and I encourage you to seek the answers from your sponsor, members of the membership committee, our club president, and any club member. It's my pleasure on behalf of the Rotary Board of Directors and the entire club membership to welcome you to the Rotary Club of Arcata Sunrise. Fellow Rotarians, I'm happy and honored to present to you our newest club member, the newest club member in the world, Amanda Nelson. Please come up and give her a great welcome.
Everybody goes.
Thank you.
Everybody goes.
Wait, I get a sneak in here. Welcome. Is it like you were there.
We're about. I'm the guy that goes through people's pockets.
You don't even have to know that we're using
years old, EKC.
Champagne?
Congratulations. I'll raise my water. But, yeah, to love life and, yeah, congratulations. Happy management.
Blazing lights.
So, reminder, Thomas Fengler is arriving tonight. Ian, I don't know if you want to give us a heads up. He's a gentleman on the far left of classes.
He is, Thomas is coming in from France tonight after a long flight, and so he sees several smiling faces. He'll be up there too, and you know, it's overwhelming for a student to step off the plane in Arcata because they figure they got time to kind of freshen up, but then they're right here with you. So I hope everybody can stop up at the House of Free Moment tonight. What else? The committee is looking out whether or not we have a combined social this Monday night for incoming students with Arcata, or if we're going to pick another date to do that separately. So we'll get back to you on that.
All right.
With Steve and Patty.
So, another opportunity to meet Thomas on Monday at our social. I guess if you want to speak to meeting the third house families now, or is that still okay?
We do. Sorry, we just do have an opportunity to be a third host family, probably mid-March-ish until the end of the school year. And Andreas is eager to get his bid and finish taking camp reception that Lark for offering.
Which one is he in the picture?
On the far left.
Far left, okay.
I had a question. Does anybody know, he wanted to know if he could, he plays guitar, he can't bring his guitar. Do they rent guitars anywhere around here? I just told him maybe.
We have lots of guitars.
You got lots of, okay, all right. That's, I figured somebody would.
Like piano, guitar, bass, cello, whatever you want.
All right.
We have lots of instruments.
You've been playing guitar for 8 years? And then a reminder again on Monday, fellowship in the Griffin for the 6th. $1 from each drink we donate to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Yeah. And then the following day we do have our board meeting at 7 a.m. at Umpqua Bank. So for those of you who are going to Red Back, it's open to the club, so come check things out. I think we're going to discuss the budget and then the Peninsula School project.
There's 2 board meetings?
Same board meeting. Oh, the art.
I see
The club's not deciding.
There he is.
I see the sign. I have to remind you guys.
Why a coat like
You
that?
don't have it on your calendar yet, but you can see, a couple years ago, hey, it's the same hat, same jacket. Come on, man. So here we are, having a good time. I got my hat on.
Where's your mint julep?
I got in trouble last year because I didn't show up in the jacket.
You think?
But we had a great time. That was part of the crowd that came out. It starts, this race is at 3 o'clock. It'll be going on for a couple hours, and not everybody's off early on a Friday. But it's a great time to go to the fair. It's be a Friday evening, and it's about $11 to get in, but this doesn't cost you any money. If you want to bet, you spend $1 if you want on a horse race, or $5 or what. But a lot of fun. We had a great time. So mark your calendars. Get in your car, and next Friday, drive down, join the fun, hang on. It's kind of loose. Okay? Questions?
Yeah, where's the picture of Bobby?
And the next day is Saturday, Ladies' Hat Day.
I wasn't going to mention it because I want them to come on Friday. You can do both.
But you can put a fancy house on
If
Friday.
you are coming down for Hat Day, I'm serving mint juleps and mimosas at my house at 11. So,
There you go. A couple of horse races.
I have a Wallace and Heinz bar.
You can begin on Friday and then lose it all on Saturday, or?
Yeah.
Clean it all on.
On both days.
And then on Saturday, we have off the highway.
We decided to change the time from, instead of 9 at 10, so it's more of a, we're hoping to get more people involved in a quick hour and a half maybe, and then we go drink at Rita's afterwards, so it's a good time.
And Charlie.
So, okay, then you get to come on Sunday to Lark and either participate in a 2-mile or a 10-mile or 10K run in honor of Kevin. And this year it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to have some of his teammates there, which we're excited about, some additional family coming for it. And several companies from the outdoor industry, Giro, Bell, Camelback, and a few others, have donated about $2,000 worth of sports equipment, and that's going to be raffled off. All the proceeds go to the donation, which this year is capped out. Hope to see you guys.
And then another event on Sunday, the NEC fundraising dinner in the random neighborhood of Bayside.
At somebody's house, at some house, at some place.
Not your house.
To remain a secret. To remain a secret. Still not.
Romy or Matt out there. But Romy did get her email out last week to join the Arcade Walk team for the American Foundation for suicide prevention. So search your email, join the team. You can join it virtually and walk virtually. You don't physically have to be there, but that was enjoyable last year. And yeah, help raise funds for yeah, very moving cause.
We met last night, and we got a few things going on. We have our event, we have the Taste of Guatemala dinner, September 27th. So we're organizing that, and then we also have the date of the trip, the week that we're flying out, and I've already picked up my tickets, so that we're actually getting ready to go. If you're interested, I really suggest you might want to go online and book a ticket now, because they are, places of tickets go up now. And so we're going to be sending something out. We're going to need some help from the club. There's fundraising, the usual fundraising dinners, just making things happen.
When is the trip?
The trip is February 15th. I'm leaving, let's see, I'm leaving the Saturday the 15th and returning Monday the 23rd. And but the actual event starts on the house building event is on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we're off Thursday, and then we have some touring about visits to various
Okay, Tom, sit
plantations.
down. Charlie, sit down.
All this translating going on. Travel time is leaving on the 15th because it takes a while to get there, and we'll arrive and be settled in on the 16th, which is Sunday. Monday, on the 17th, we start building a house. We build a house for 3 days, and then that's Monday through Wednesday, as Tom was saying. And then Thursday, Friday, we'll do some touring. We'll go to Antigua. You can choose to do zip lining, through a coffee plantation. There's some Mayan ruins that we can go to. There are, several things. And then the departure would be Saturday, the 22nd, unless you want to extend. So some of us are going to extend and do some things. But that's the trip date. So if you're looking for, what week do I need to take off? It's the 15th to the 22nd of February. And what else? Any other questions?
I'll look to post those details in our next meeting.
Well, yes, there'll be some sign-up team list.
How many people are you hoping to go?
So the team needs to be at least 15 people and max 25. And I can tell you it's a lot more fun and a lot less work if you're closer to the 25. And And if we, you know, they don't expect us to have all 25, although I think the more the merrier we can, you know, gather from Humboldt, I'll just say, you know, the larger community here. And they will partner other people with us to make up the team. So they'll be, you know, we're not going to be out there on our own. Okay.
And then with the fundraiser coming up, we do have an ask. I think we're trying to figure out the Dutch raffle situation. So the idea is that if you're on a committee, choose one, and that committee will donate or come up with a prize for this event so that we can raise some additional funds on top of a dinner fundraiser. So, more to come on that. We'll share that through email. And then reminder to send your recognitions to arcs.recognitions@gmail.com. Next week, Joyce will, hopefully she's reaching out and she'll have some fun recognitions. I know there's a lot happening this summer. I think I had a good time. So please share what happened to you this summer. Travis.
Good morning.
You have to talk up loud, please.
Okay. There's old people here.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, so these slides will go in kind of chronological order to the time to my exchange. So this was the first month, probably, of my exchange. We had a Rotary project in Sao Paulo, which is a city about an hour from the city that I was living in. We spent the whole day in the city. This is from one of the first banks in Brazil. This is all the students that was there. We had a multi-district, so there's about 90 kids in our district or something. This is the other girl from California in our district. At these really cool murals called Beckle Development. And basically it's street huge, like a neighborhood, just street art, like a lot of really cool street art. And all these exchange students right here are the other 6 exchange students who were in my city. Campinas, like an hour inland from Sao Paulo. So yeah, it was a pretty fun day. A month later, about around my birthday, I went to Rio de Janeiro with my family. It was an amazing trip. I love the city. This is the sunset is the beach in front of the apartment where we're staying. My host mom's friend. This is a museum called Museu do Amanhã, which means Museum of Tomorrow. And there's a lot of really, I can't fit everything in this slide, you know? But there's a lot of really cool things inside, like stuff about the planet and different objects. There's stuff floating and cool things. And this is Cristo Redentor, or Christ Redeemer. Really famous statue, you'll probably know it, but the view from up there was amazing. I had a panorama from the top that I took. It's not this photo, but it wouldn't let me put it in here because it was too big of a file. I also went to Iguazu Falls, with Belo Brazil, which is like how the exchange students here, they go on the Western Safari or they go to the East Coast. I had a bunch of trips to choose from, and this is one of the ones that I chose. This is probably one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life. Like when all the group of exchange students were on a bus on the road going to to the place where we walked to the falls, there was one glimpse through the trees that you could see, and everyone just like screamed. Because it's amazing. It takes your breath away. I mean, there's no words to explain it. These are all the Americans that were on the trip. There's me on top of the 3-point mark, so it's where Argentina, Brazil, and Paraguay actually meet. You can't exactly stand on the exact point because it's in the middle of a river, but this is on the Argentina side, and little marker. And this right here, and these two on the top are from the Brazilian side of the falls. And then on another day of the trip, we went to the Argentine side of the falls, and this is what it looked like from the Argentine side. I personally think that the Argentinian side is better looking. It's more beautiful. It really is an amazing place. And right here, you're like literally right below the falls. Like they're in front of you, and there's a bridge, like a walkway, that's right below it. And we were soaking wet, like really. This is I have multiple slides for the Amazon just because there's so many. I have so many photos. I can't even explain or put them all in one slide. This picture here on the left is, or the right, sorry, is where the Rio Negro and the Rio Amazonas meet. So it's the Amazon River and the Negro River where they meet, and the waters are so different that it looks like pouring in a coffee. And there's a whole section of the river that looks like that. It's not just one part. This is the boat that we slept on. So there was actually 3 boats. There was the Jacaré, the Bicho Preguiço, and the Anaconda. So Anaconda, Sloth, and Crocodile boat. And I was on the Crocodile. This is the one that we were on. We slept up top right there. And downstairs there was where we kept our luggage, where the food was. And yeah, one of the days we went to an Indian tribe in the Amazon, and they, did a dance for us, and we had face paint and spent the day at the tribe, and it was pretty cool. This is just a photo that I thought was pretty. The sunsets over the river were amazing. They were really pretty. This is another part of the trip. So this is a sloth right there. These are 2 pictures, and that one is out of focus, but then the one that's in focus, I'm making a weird face. But here's me with an anaconda. I think some of you saw this while I was there. I think there's some pictures. The anaconda. That is a part of an acai tree. I don't know if you guys know what acai is, but it's the fruit that grows a lot in South America. And real acai is delicious. It's amazing. This is also, there's a bunch of pineapples everywhere on the ground, and I didn't know how that pineapples grew like that out of the bushes in the ground. So, this is another day. So that's me. I caught a piranha. Cool. This tree right here that this guide is pointing to, that is actually the tree that they make rubber from. So that picture up there is also really amazing. You kind of can't see where the water line is. It just meets the trees. And this is a school boat. So we have school buses, but in the Amazon they have school boats that drive to all the houses and all the kids.
How'd you take the piranha off the boat?
Careful.
Really? Wow.
I mean, they can bite you with your hands, grabbing the audio.
You're a braver man.
This is some group photos. That was the whole group right there at the Amazon Theater. And funny story actually about that. I met a guy from McKinleyville in the Amazon. Some of my American friends were talking to him, and they were like, "Oh, Travis, he's from California too." And I was like, "Okay, where are you from?" He's like, "Oh, I live in San Diego." He's like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Oh, like really, really northern California." And he's like, "How northern?" Because I went to school in McKinleyville. I'm from Arcata. awesome. He got his master's in biology at Humboldt State, and then he moved to San Diego and was doing a biology study in the Amazon. This is the group of kids who was on the crocodile boat. So there's about 60 kids on the trip in total, about 3 boats, so 20 people per boat, pretty much. This is some of the Americans from our district. I don't think that I put a picture in, but on the first slide when I went to Sao Paulo, there's a picture just like that we took, and we kind of recreated it. And this is just a passport photo. Amazon was probably one of the best trips of my life. It was 9 days with 60 other exchange students, and it was really, really amazing. This is a pink freshwater dolphin. Yeah. These are some of the exchange students from my city again, from Campinas.
How did your transition to the language go once you got there?
It was hard in the beginning. For the first 4 or 5 months, I'd say that it was pretty difficult to have a conversation or understand what everyone was saying right off the bat. But then once I started picking it up after 7 months, or more like 5 or 6 months, I started to get it, and I could have a conversation pretty easily after in the following months after that. Yeah. And then these were the final months of my exchange. I returned to Sao Paulo one more time, just because of the amazing city it is. It's a really, really cool place. There's 12 million people, so there's a lot to do. My picture's pretty funny. I don't remember the face, but yeah. This was one of my last times seeing all my exchange student friends in my city. We're called the capybaras. Capybara is the largest rodent in the world. There's a lot of them in the city that I was in, and we call ourselves the capybara. This is me at the airport when I was leaving with my host mom, my favorite person. I had a host brother also, but he was traveling and playing soccer, and he couldn't come. But
How many families did you have?
I had 3. I'm excited for what the future holds for me. I have 1 more year at Arcata High. I'm going to finish my senior year here, and then I'll probably move on from Humboldt for a while, but I'll be back.
Come visit us.
So, yeah, it was an amazing year. It was definitely the best year of my life, and I'm sad it's over. I don't want to go back. I'm happy to be back, and yeah, I'm looking forward to joining Rotex also and helping out other future generations of exchange students. Thank you.
Now I'm going to welcome Lark next. Want to do an intro?
Our guest today is Lark Doolan. I guess simply, he is from Berkeley. Born and raised in Berkeley. Now he's in Arcata, and he is the superintendent and principal of Peninsula Union Middle School. He is definitely a leader and a mentor in our community and with kids. He's an educator in our community and with kids. So I'm going to actually let him introduce himself a little bit more and get with it.
Welcome.
Love it. All right, hello. Good morning. Thanks so much for inviting me to be here. I'm really grateful to be here. My name is Lark Doolan. I'm the superintendent, principal, special ed director, and whatever else they need to have done at Peninsula Union School District. It's one of the beauties of a small school. Check out our website. We just redid it, peninsulaunion.org. We spent a lot of time kind of re-envisioning our school research, and our website really reflects that. So I'm going to introduce myself a little bit, kind of cover that. We're going to talk about our current demographics of our school, kind of what our population looks like. We're going to talk about the opportunity of learning in a small school environment. And I'm going to talk a little about our annual themes. So our school has some really specific values that's maybe unlike other schools in Humboldt County and some. So I'll talk a little about what makes us unique. And then at the very end, I'm going to make a little time for question and answer. And I go until 5 Great-ish. Got it. Okay. Hello. I'm Lark. That's my email address. If you need to find me, it's also on the website. A little bit about me. I grew up in Berkeley, California. I came into special education with a passion for full inclusion. So having students with moderate severe disabilities in the general ed classroom being served with their peers. I believe that it's immoral to segregate kids unless you have a really good reason. And a lot of times there's ways to make it work that people don't realize. So there's an old model of special ed where kids who are different get put in a separate classroom or in a separate school. And that's not how I was raised. I was raised in inclusive schools where I had the opportunity to be a friend and a mentor and a helper to classmates who had more substantial disabilities than me. It made a big difference for me in my life. And I learned a lot. So I learned all the stuff I would normally learn. And I also learned a lot about diversity and social justice. And now if I'm in a grocery store and someone is having a seizure and their brother is there monitoring them until they're safe, I'm not all freaked out because I'm used to it, right? Like I'm used to neurodiversity. When I meet someone with autism in the world, I have a skill set for interacting with that. Because I was raised in a diverse and inclusive school. And I came into education realizing that a lot of people didn't have that in their education. A lot of people grew up not really knowing people with disabilities and not realizing how much friendships with people with disabilities can enhance their lives. And so that's part of my passion and part of how I came into education. And so when I got hired at Peninsula School, I was the special ed teacher, the principal, and the superintendent. And then I've gradually transitioned to just doing the administrative side of that. In addition to this, I also work part-time with the Youth Clinic system. I'm the administrator for their transgender health navigator system, and I run the youth group for gender identity. Okay, so a little bit about my school's demographics. We have around 35 to 40 students in our entire district, kindergarten through 8th grade. So we have 3 multi-age classrooms. So our kindergartner, 1st grade, 2nd grade classroom has about 12 students in it. Our 3rd, 4th, 5th grade has about 12 students in it, and our middle school has about 14 students in it. And so students have teachers for 3 years. And it's this incredible thing to have the same student for 3 years and the same teacher for 3 years. Because at the beginning of the year, you don't have that first month where you're just getting to know each other, figuring out how the kid learns. We don't have that kind of lag moment because we have the same students for a few years, so we can go really deep. We really know how that student learns. And then when they pass on to the next teacher, the teachers have been seeing them for so many years, they already know so much about them. So there's this real opportunity to know the students for the whole people that they are and the nuances of their story with small class sizes like that. Another thing I want to mention about our school, so out in Samoa, I don't know if you've spent much time in Samoa recently, but there's a lot of poverty in our community. So in schools we use this language called unduplicated, which refers to English language learners, people with disabilities, people who are living in poverty. For our school, over 90% of our students live below the poverty line. So as a school district, it's one of the things that we're really being mindful of, is making sure we're meeting the base math block needs for our students. So some examples of what that looks like at our school. We serve breakfast, lunch, supper, and snack at no charge to any families. We just include that. We also provide backpacks of food on Friday, food that kids can make for themselves. So like sandwiches, simple things so that kids are able to be fed over the weekend. Samoa and Fairhaven, 2 of the communities we serve, are both food deserts. So we have the Samoa Cookhouse, but most families can't afford to eat there. And there is no other place to get food. We also have no public transportation. So if you're a family where gas money is hard to come by, or where you don't have a vehicle, there isn't a grocery store that's available. So we do our best to meet those types of needs at our school. It's not uncommon for me to do a store run to buy some underwear for a kid, some clothes for a kid, socks. In the wintertime, we give kids jackets. We provide all shoes for some of our students. So we really work on supporting our students in those ways so that they can be undistracted. Because again, when you are really cold, it's hard to work. So that's just a little bit about our demographics. But I want to talk a little bit about the opportunities of being in a small school. Because sometimes people are like, oh, multi-grade classrooms, that must be so hard. And like, yeah, it's hard, but you know what? We're all professional educators, and having 12 kids in your class isn't so bad, you know? And so there's always opportunities. So a few opportunities. Here's an example. We have a student who loves bugs and insects. I'm always happy to tell them, please don't catch snakes on campus. Like, yes, you know that's not a poisonous snake, but a little kid sees you doing that, they think it's okay. And you might not be able to tell the difference, so when you're at school, please don't catch snakes. We love bugs and insects, and there was a bird flying over our school that dropped a little crab-like bug thing. And so we brought it to him, and we're like, what's this? And he told us all about it, where they live, what their life cycle is like, that it wasn't going to survive long that far from the ocean, that a bird had probably picked it up at the beach, which is so close to our school. We could walk there on walking field trips. We could hear the ocean and hear the sea lions. It's amazing out there. It's a really magical place. Anyway, so we launched an entire rescue mission for this bug, and this kid was in charge of that entire experience. And then I called up my friend Tony, who writes the Humbug column for the local newspaper. And they say, hey, we have a kid who really likes bugs. You know, you're a bug specialist. Do you want to come and hang out with this kid? And so Tony comes to our school occasionally and walks around and does bug hunts with this kid and a friend of his who has disabilities. We're building relationships across abilities, and they're getting to have this really unique learning experience in a one-to-one or two-to-one model with a local expert. And we know our kids so well that we're able to identify, like, oh, this kid really is an outdoor learner. Like, let's hook up with Big Lagoon School and do kayaking and paddleboarding and have this kid do outdoor social-emotional resiliency learning, because that's going to meet his needs. And that's one of the really cool things about small schools. We can do that. Another example was last year with the amazing volunteer support of Crystal. We went to China with our 8th graders. So a lot of our students don't get to leave the peninsula very often. And so we're like, well, let's do a field trip. And there's a great field for going to China. So we took our 8th graders to China for a trip. And it was an incredible life-changing experience, I think, for most, if not everyone who came. So here's a couple pictures of us there in Shanghai. So here we are in a shopping district in Shanghai, checking out the incredible architecture. This was our last full day of the trip. And then a few days before that, with one of our tour guides, Tom, also in Shanghai. That's our 8th grade class. And our amazing chaperones who volunteered their time and effort to join us. If you go on our Facebook, it's a public photo album. Lark Doolan is my name, and on my Lark Doolan Facebook account, there's an album of about 200 pictures of our trip, and it was phenomenal. In the evening, we sat around reading Chinese poetry, reading the Tao Te Ching, and talking about our days. We went to all sorts of places. I mean, tea plantations, the Great Wall of China. It was a mind-blowing experience. And I knew it was going to be an amazing trip when we drove down to the San Francisco airport, and one of the students was like freaking out because she saw an escalator. And I realized, wow, we don't have any escalators in Humboldt County. And she's like, when I was 4 years old, I saw an escalator once, you know, and she was afraid. She was afraid of the escalators. When she was four years old, she got her flip-flops stuck, you know, and those things can be scary and dangerous. And 3 days later in Beijing, she was like going up and down an escalator for fun. And I got to see that student in particular have a fear and overcome it, and have a fear and overcome it every day for the whole trip. There was another student who, we arrived in China, we're walking around Beijing, we were on our way to the Temple of Heaven, which is a Chinese tourism spot where we didn't see any other Westerners. We're walking down the street and he says, Principal Doolan, when are we going to see the real China? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, somewhere where I don't recognize any of the restaurants and all the signs are in Chinese, not English and Chinese. And I don't see other Westerners, and the people on the mopeds are not wearing helmets. And I looked around and said, okay, look around, do you recognize any restaurants? And he's like, I don't recognize any of these restaurants, they're all Chinese restaurants. And I said, do you see any other Westerners? He's like, we're the only Westerners I see. I said, look at the signs. What language are they in? They're all in Chinese. I was like, well, look at the people on the mopeds. Are they wearing helmets? He goes, oh my gosh, we're in China. It was just so far beyond, what he was told was possible. We offered this trip at no expense to families. So we fundraised for it, we got some grant money, we found volunteers to chaperone, and one of the students was homeless. And all of our students, were invited to come, regardless of financial ability. And that's part of how we do our school. Because if we're asking families to pay money, then all of a sudden we have the haves and the have-nots. All the students had spending money, whether or not their family could afford that. One of the families worked really hard and scrapped together $10 to send for their kid. And we found another 140 in donations so that he could go shopping and buy gifts for his family and his teacher and things like that. Because the experience of bartering, it's a skill that I did not learn growing up. And now all of our graduating 8th graders who went on the trip know how to barter, and they're very proud. Yeah, and many thanks to Crystal for helping teach that, because it's not my strength. So those are just a few of the opportunities that small schools can offer. Okay, so a little bit about our school and its values. My first year, I brought in restorative practice, which is something I am really passionate about. When a child makes a mistake, I think of it as an opportunity to learn and grow. And so an example of how a restorative circle would work, 80% of restorative practice in schools is just creating a sense of community, doing daily circles, building relationships. Because really relationships are the foundation that all of learning happens on. And in a small school, we have the opportunity to really invest in those relationships. So in the restorative practice model, we do our daily circles, but then when there's a conflict, we have a very specific way of working through it. So for example, last year we had 2 2nd grade girls that were really upset with each other and they were pushing each other. This is not allowed. So we did a circle. They came to the office, I had a big rose quartz rock. We put that in the middle of the table, we had a little talking stick. And the people get to share, what were you thinking when you realized, or what were you thinking when you pushed her? What have you thought about since? Who was affected by what you did? And what do you need to do to restore balance? And then whoever was harmed has the opportunity to share. When you realized what was happening, when you realized she was going to push you, what did you think in that moment? What have you thought about since? What was the hardest part about this for you? And what do you need for there to be a balance restored? And the students get to listen to each other and really understand the impact of what they did and how it impacted other people. And then together, they work together to make agreements. So in that particular case, rather than them getting, mandatory attention or whatever the punitive approach of discipline is, I don't know what it is because we don't do it, they talked about their relationship and how their parents were letting them play together and how they weren't allowed to go over to each other's houses anymore. One of them was moving and how sad they were about the changes in their friendship and how this was kind of an outcropping of that frustration. And then they worked together and they agreed to make a poster about keeping your hands and feet to yourself. So they could put that up in their classroom because they had been poor role models and they wanted to do something not just to repair their relationship with each other, but to repair the culture of their classroom where it taking place. And they were so proud to come and show me that poster when they were done and then to share it with their class. So that's an example of how restorative practice works. So our first year we got everyone other than our cook, I wasn't able to get her in there, but everyone else at our school got trained in restorative practice and how to run circles. So our next year, our theme was mindfulness. So my first year at Peninsula, I realized there are a lot of kids with trauma in our school district. When you have multi-generational poverty, there's a lot of stuff that can come with that. And so I noticed some of our kids were getting in trouble because they have trauma and they were responding from a place of trauma. Maybe a teacher got really close to them and it reminded them of a time where something happened that didn't feel safe. And so then they acted out. But I don't want to get kids in trouble for having trauma. And so we decided to bring mindfulness to our school and focus on social emotional learning and trauma-informed practice. So we spent an entire year focusing on that, teaching kids how to self-regulate, how to check in with themselves and notice, am I feeling tired and lethargic? I know how to put myself back in. Or am I feeling really, really highly energized? How do I calm myself down? So that kids can find their optimal learning zone. And one of the things we did that year is we built a labyrinth on campus. So here's a picture from our opening ribbon cutting for our labyrinth. For those who have never walked a labyrinth, it is a very centering experience. We walk them silently and slowly, and it's a path where there are no wrong turns, and we walk all the way to the center. In the center, there's a spot where you can sit. We can have circles, restorative circles in that, and then we slowly and quietly walk out. And this is a tool that students use. If they're in class, some kids can do mindfulness by just kind of sitting and breathing. Some kids need to move, and the walking labyrinth is an opportunity for the kids that need to move to find that centered place. During state testing is a time where kids really use it a lot. They take a break, they go walk the labyrinth, and they go back in and keep testing. And it's also right outside my office window. And so if I'm noticing who's using the labyrinth, and if a kid uses the labyrinth 3 times in a day, I know to go out and walk the labyrinth with them. Spend a little time together, see what's going on for them. So then our next year, we started to look at equity, social justice. We live in a world where there's plenty of kids, and we don't want our school to be that place. So we started to study racism in this country and how it was created over about a 100-year period of time in the early founding of our country to keep poor white people from allying with slaves in the population. And the way that that was created in our culture was very, very specific. And as we started unpacking that with our students, we started to look at whose land are we on, whose ancestral land are we on. All of our students, kindergarten through 8th grade, know that they're on the ancestral land of the Wiok. We bring in people from local tribes, we do language lessons, we learn about a range of diversity that we don't necessarily have on the peninsula. So for example, we don't have a lot of racial diversity in Samoa. So every month we bring in people from our community, who are leaders in our community, who are members of different ethnic groups or cultural groups, to read to our kids, and so that our kids get to have opportunities to have role models from a range of places, so that kids can really see a future for themselves if they're the only African American student in their class, for example. There's a lot I could say about our ongoing equity work, but in the interest of wrapping up, I want to talk a little bit about ways to support Peninsula School. So one thing is, if you have an iPad lying around your house that you never use that somebody gave to you, we could totally use it. So we definitely take donations of old laptops and things like that that are functioning. We have one-to-one technology at our school. Every kid has their own special device, computer, to make learning as smooth and accessible as possible, because they don't all have internet at home. Also, we have this dream for a van. So I just want to mention one thing about field trips. My first year there, we took a field trip to the Morris Grave Museum, and there was a 9-year-old, and we walked up and he goes, "Oh, Principal Doolan, do you see that?" And he pointed to the staircase that goes up to the 2nd floor. And I said, yeah, I see it. And he goes, "That's called a staircase. People use it when there isn't an elevator. Did you know that?" And I said, "Yes." "Yes, I do that." And in my mind, I said, "We're going on more field trips." Because in Samoa, we don't have a lot of staircases. And a lot of our students, they don't get off the peninsula very much. And so just taking a field trip to the Arcata Plaza and taking a walk is a huge thing. But the bus is really expensive, and so we're looking at getting a 10-person van. This is an ongoing fundraising effort for us. We could have our own bus route. We have a teacher who's willing to be our bus driver, and we could have a little bus that we pick up our kids in the morning so that they're not on the big bus with the high schoolers, which can be really dysregulating for the kids. And then we have a little bus where we can take classes on field trips to the Redwoods, field trips to the marsh, things like that. Our field trip fund. And then garden improvements. I want to give a shout out to our garden and the Rotarians who are supporting us in redoing our garden, whether you know it or not. It's an amazing garden, and it needs some love. The fence could be fixed up a little, and the boxes that we grow things in can be improved a bit. We want our students to be able to harvest herbs in the morning for our cook. We have a cook who makes all of our meals, to cook into our eggs and things like that. We want to grow some winter vegetables. So please come out and volunteer in our garden and help make it a functional space for us. I really appreciate your having me here. I was hoping I would have time for Q&A, but I've gone over. So email me, talk to me after. Thank you so much for supporting us in our garden project, and thank you for having me come and speak a little about Peninsula School today. Check out our website. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Thank you.
Example, we do get these in the mail, so this is an example of where the Wheelchair Foundation funds go to support advocates and needs. Go on to the raffle here. Oh, that's the raffle.
5-4.
Back.
Oh, it's good.
5-4.
Hurry up.
Okay. Jen. Yeah, there's a white one in there.
Oh, you got $5. All right.
Okay. Get down to it. How many are left? How many left? 3 maybe. Big money.
Nick, what's the prize?
120.
Let's hear someone's Paul Harris.
Oh, okay, here we go. Get ready. All right, who's our lucky number? Do we just do the last 3?
Yeah,
2, 2, 9. Oh.
Right before Karen.
What tickets right after?
Oh my gosh, I actually got it. That was the first time I think I've ever gotten it. All right.
Oh, yeah.
I got 5 too.
So leaving with the quote here, every mindful moment in which generosity displaces greed, compassion takes the place of hatred, and insight dislodges delusion, is a moment in which we are awake.
Didn't Trump say that?